you for joining us, those of you who are on and those who are still joining the call. My name's Jennifer Reeder. For those of you who may not know, I'm the current president of FIU, and I'm also the chapter advisor at Idaho State University. So I'm excited to learn more about this. We've been talking about Greek Track for a while on National Council, and I'm seeing some of the things as I go, getting my account set up and all of that. But I'm really excited that Melissa is here to guide us through. I think the Greek Track videos and trainings are really helpful, and their support team is great because there are a few things I've had to reach out for help with, and they get back right away. So from that side of things, I'm super excited just to learn more. And while you are thinking about it, if you will put your name and email address, and you can put the institution that you are at, your chapter, in the chat. I'm going to be managing the chat to kind of help Melissa as we go, but I'm going to be taking, I'm taking names. I'll be writing down names of participants, and at the end, we'll do a drawing. And if I'm correct about what it is it still the same things we talked about before?
I think we had 4 things. Do you want to do 4 or?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
So we've got 4 items. So whoever's name's in the chat, Martha, thank you. I see everybody's there. I'll be putting it, I have a literal wheel to spin. It's wheelofnames.com if anybody's used that before. And so we'll do the drawing for the 4 items at the end. So I want to make sure I say all of the announcements. I have already managed to send, 7 texts in a row to some people as I was learning the Greek Track system. So if that was one of you, I apologize for those things in advance, or I guess it already happened. But that was one of the experiences where I'm like, wow, it's so cool that Greek Track can do this. And then, oh, I need help. And they helped right away in fixing that. So one thing, if you ever need help, and I'm sure Melissa will say that, but the Greek Track support team is awesome. A special thank you to Melissa Martin, our executive director, for taking time out of her evening to do this, to walk us through everything specialized to FIU. She's been at the forefront of everything and knows a lot, and will be able to help us, guide us through. So I'm excited that she's here to do this and help us learn how to use it for our chapters. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Melissa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate the introduction, and I will start off by saying, if any of you feel like you are just a touch intimidated or the system is just very new to you, I want you to know that makes 2 of us, likely more. So I am learning it at the same time you are learning it. So we will get through this together, and I can tell you, the more I learn, the more excited I am, because it will just do so much. And I think at the end of the day, the system will make all of our lives easier and streamline a lot of the functions, especially for our chapter advisors and our officers, but also promote networking and connectivity with our members. So with that, I am going to share my screen. Feel free to jump in at any point. I might go a little quickly, simply because I want to ensure we've got some time for some Q&A at the end. And we're probably not going to deep dive into every aspect, but enough to get you going per se. So we're glad you're here. We're glad you're interested in learning more, and we're going to do that together. So some questions I have received thus far are we still using FIU.org? So FIU.org is still our website, absolutely. And so I'm going to click just right here. Can you see my screen, everyone? Thumbs up, nodding. Okay, great. So this is our website. we moved, the server over, but it's still FIU.org and everything's still here and lovely. It may look a little different, but for the most part, things are kind of categorized the same. The main difference that you will see is that there is a login here. So we no longer have a blanket username and password. It's now each person's individual profile. So if you have already been initiated into FIU and your membership information and national dues were submitted, you should already be in here. If you're not, please let me know. So the system should be able to find you if you haven't yet accessed it and you want to try updating your profile or your account. You shouldn't have to start from scratch per se, but type in your name and it should locate you. And we also have jewelry, shameless plug here. So this is our new expanded jewelry line. It's super fun. I'm wearing one of the necklaces right now. And there's a bracelet and there's some other necklace options. So definitely if you want to wear yes, Jennifer's holding up the bangle bracelet. You want to show off your FIU pride, or they also make great gifts for, your favorite advisor or your officers, or just, a birthday or anything like that. So that's super fun.
Yeah, this one's the bracelet. And then there are 2 other necklaces. I put them both on the same one. This one's my favorite.
Yes.
And then there's this lapel pin. Ooh, that's not a very good picture, but that one's really cool.
Yes, so pretty. Our very own Vanna. I love it. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, so I'm going to click log in, and then I'm already logged in, so it's going to take me here. If you have multiple affiliations, you might see that. So for me, I am a Beta Delta alum, but I've also got headquarters admin rights. And for the sake of this exercise, I'm actually going to pretend that I am Beta Delta's president. So bear with me. Okay, I'm gonna have to remove myself and add back. And some of the things we're going to discuss today may not really be relevant to you if you're not an advisor or you're not an officer, but it's still good to know. And I think just seeing the system work in real time will make everyone feel more comfortable. Okay, so we're going to pretend that I am the president for Beta Delta chapter. So this is kind of your dashboard. This is what you'll see. And so if you log in, you should see a similar screen depending on your administrative rights or your role with FIU. But these are announcements. These happen to be announcements that I have made from the national office. But you, if you are an officer and advisor, have the ability to post an announcement yourself for your own chapter members. So that's something great to have it pinned, just right there to the top. And then if you have any invoices, so if I want to pay my annual alumni fee, my $25 annual alumni fee for those alum who are on the call, you can generate an automatic invoice. You can pay that via credit card right through GreekTrack, or you can still mail in a check, absolutely, to FIU and upgrade to lifetime. We're working on some other features to automate some things, but you'll see those invoices there. And then because I'm the pretend president, I will also see GreekTrack trainings. So tonight, this is something special just for our FIU members to try to help everyone feel more comfortable. But GreekTrack also offers trainings about every 2 weeks. So you can see from here that the next one is February 24th. And they'll take a deeper dive into different various aspects of GreekTrack. So that's something great to promote and put out to your officers. For budget, so again, if you're an officer, you can manage your own budget, finances, and dues information for your individual chapter in GreekTrack. And then you see I've got one event ready to be completed. So for tonight, I made an event in GreekTrack. So some chapters, not all, may do a point system or have leaderboards or make fun competitions out of, how many meetings can you attend, or how many service projects have you done? And so you can choose to make those activities have points and do some fun things like that with your chapter. Okay, then another question I often get is, where are the resources? Where is the fall packet? We used to call it the fall packet. And you'll see that a lot of the documents have transitioned over and may or may not be applicable now that we're in Greek Track. But the fall packet of resources is now here, resources. So we are working with Greek Track to see if we can make this a little bit more pronounced, because we have gotten the question a lot of where are the resources? So if you hit view all from your dashboard beside resources, depending on your administrative role or your privileges, you will see the folders essentially like we had before. So you've still got your advisor toolbox there. We've got our scholarship applications, which are also linked directly from the website as they were before. If you're the president, you might want to click in there and you'll see that you've got, you know, your newsletters, forms, letters of information, table of contents. And if you need to order chapter supplies like certificates, more pens, things like that, that would be under all officers and advisors. And there's the chapter supply order form. So I anticipate, because we've transitioned to Greek Track mid-academic year, that we will kind of mix this up some to make more sense in the new system over the summer between the school years. But for right now, everything is still categorized the way that it was essentially. So does anybody have any questions? I'm going to take a quick pause there to see if anyone has a question before I move on. Good. Okay. All right. So one of the other things that really is quite different than what we have done in the past is we're automating the invitation process. So several of you, I know I've worked with you directly on the invitation process because we did transition in the middle of a year. And so it might be, oh, well, we already invited our students, but we haven't had initiation, or we had the initiation, but I haven't submitted their names and now I don't know how to do that. And so I understand that it is a transition period. And so we'll get through that, and I'm here to help you. So definitely reach out. So what we'll discuss tonight is, if you are clean slate, ready to go, you are going to invite new members. So I'm going to do my best to model this using my information as an example. So we'll try to do that. So let's pretend that I'm the chapter advisor and I have requested my list of eligible members from the registrar's office, and I have that. And let's say it's in an Excel spreadsheet. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you have individual columns for your different data points. So you will need first name, last name, email. Those 3 columns are necessary, and you can have more beyond that. If you have their major or their home addresses or anything like that, you can have additional columns, but those 3 are what is required to kind of get going. And you will have to save it as a CSV file. So just file save as and save it as a CSV file from your Excel. So once you have that, you can come right to your invitation dashboard. And it also is available up here under Invitation Manager. So we create a new invitation group. And this is going to tell you step by step how this works. I won't read that for everyone, but we're going to show it today live. But that should help you if you ever kind of get stuck on what to do next. So let's say my invitation group is spring, my expiration date. So essentially what that previous screen said is, what is the date that you want it to deactivate? If your initiation is on March 17th, then you might say, well, my expiration date is going to be March 16th. And after that date, invitees or prospects can no longer accept the invitation to join. I am working with Greek Track to change this part up just a little bit, because we don't operate the same as some other organizations. We operate on a replenishment system. So normally we are not sending materials in advance of a ceremony unless there's a special request made. It's normally done after the fact. So you might see some changes there. but essentially all this is pretty basic. The mailing address for those replenishment materials and any special instructions. So we'll save and continue to upload your data file. So you can see here, this is just the required CSV file format, the minimum 3 columns. There are some directions there if anyone gets stuck. And then I'm going to browse, and I've just got an example of me to be my invitee for this, but you could have 20 members, 40 members, 2 members, whatever. That part doesn't matter. And we're going to upload it. So this is kind of new, even within the last few weeks. So we actually have graduated to version 2.0 of the invitation process. And so now our advisors, or however each individual chapter may work that, can input a personalized message. So I just kind of saved this for this example. So can everybody see that where I say, please join us? Okay. So here you can put in your individual request. So one of the questions we had was, oh, well, how do I tell them what our dues are for the chapter? Or how do I say there's a Q&A meeting at this time? So now you can input your own text. There is a character limit, and just save and update the preview. And then when you scroll down, it's going to automatically drop it right into a pre-designed template for you. So we're really excited that hopefully that makes everything really streamlined and save some time on your end. So you can kind of see it will personalize the message. So for every first name, last name that's in that CSV file import, you're going to see their name appear here on their individual invitations. Not everyone's going to see everyone else's, so you don't have to worry about the confidentiality piece. They're going to get an individual email tailored to them, and it's going to say, you know, congratulations. And then this section right here is where you're going to see your text added. So if you say dues are $20, you know, pay me at the front door, whatever you want to put for your individual chapter, that will pop right into the template there. And then you can see that invitation expiration date, and they'll have a button here they can accept invitation and register, or also again at the bottom. There's a video on why choose FIU, and then it automatically signs it with the primary chapter advisor that we have in the system. So you're going to want to make sure, you know, your account's set up and all that's good to go. So if we hit continue, then we get to compose a welcome message. This is also a brand new feature, even since we transitioned to GreekTrack. So again, we're working on a few things there. But right now I've just kind of pretty basic template plugged in that says, you know, dear whoever your invitee is, congratulations and welcome. So what will happen is the invitees on your list, say from your registrar's office, will all get that invitation email. Then when they hit accept and register, it will automatically generate a secondary email. So you might consider personalizing with something like, we're so glad you're joining us. Here's where the initiation ceremony is going to be. You might say, you know, local dues are $20, because that changes based on individual chapter. Now, I think we've got to work on getting this imported into our template, and we'll take care of that this week. I've actually got an email already out to GreekTrack because it's new, right? And then we've got a welcome letter. So again, the letter that would have normally been the letter to new initiates from National President Jennifer Reeder, we're going to plug that in right here. So we're trying to reduce the need to hunt for forms and letters, so that we just bring it to our fingertips. So we're excited about that. Now, if you do personalize the different sections of these letters, it will put it in a queue for the national office to review. That's just so that no one writes anything crazy and sends it to a bunch of people and has Phi Epsilon Omicron's signature and handle on it. So if you're planning for it to go out immediately, you're not going to want to personalize it, but normally we'll get that in, you know, just a few days. We'll get it turned around. You can see your, you know, expiration date, materials date, any special instructions, And like this is going to say it'll be sent after your custom messages are approved. And then you'll submit one invitee and it's going to send it on its way. And then after the fact, if you go to Invitation Manager, you are going to see, oh, well, I can't see it here. You are going to see who has clicked on the invitation, how many people have opened, how many have accepted. You can send reminders and all that. So we're really excited about that. And the other thing that a lot of chapters, you'll remember doing is having to submit forms to the national office to say, these are our new members, these are their addresses and their emails. And so when each person registers their GreekTrack account, it's automatically going to populate it. So there's no more legwork to try to hunt that down. And then, getting ahead of myself. Okay, so after that process has happened, you are going to see any of your invitees right here in this bucket is what I call it. And I just went to members, transition members. And so when Melissa Martin gets her invitation email and clicks, accepts and registers, and I fill that out, it's going to move me to initiate, okay? And then when I become initiate, it then has the option to click the boxes, just like you can over here. And then a button will populate, like this one says graduate members. It will say initiate initiates. And at that time, an automatic invoice will be generated at $60 per member. So again, that's not your local dues, that's just your national. But you can set up your account to collect dues for your local chapter as well. But for the purposes of these staging forms, that will be the national dues payable to the national office. Again, you can pay it by credit card or you can mail in a check. And again, if you realize, my goodness, Caitlin has graduated, you want to click her name and hit graduate member, then it's going to move them to the alumni bucket. The other exciting thing is if you go to members, view members, you can get a great overview of all of your members. You can look and see who your officers are. Some people have uploaded their lovely profile pictures, who your active members are, advisors, alums, honoraries. And if you're hosting a fun, Founders Day event and you want to invite some of your alums and you say, oh, I remember Abigail Watkins was so active and she lives local, let's invite her. You can click on their name and you can find their profiles and invite them through their email address or whatever information they've made public to your chapter. Transitioning officers. In the event that we do not have your current officers in GreekTrack correctly, or you need to make any changes, this is where you will change that information. This is eraser to delete them, and then you can find a new one. So if you just start typing their name, she's already president, so it might not let me pull her. Yeah, so then see how it pulls and you just click on them and then it's automatically going to link their account. You can assign members to position. I'm sorry, you can define officer positions here. I did that just now by trying to do an example, so my apologies. But if you want to edit their privileges, so let's say, I will tell you for the purposes of setting up GreekTrack, I've pretty much given everyone access to everything for your chapter. I haven't gone through and said, well, the treasurer doesn't need to see this, this, and this, and the president only needs to see this and that. Anything that is a form, I have just granted access, and I'm going to let your chapters determine who gets to see what, especially while we're getting acclimated. So this is where you'll want to hit that little lock, that little padlock, and then you can go through and decide if you want to disallow or allow different things. And there are so many options here. So you can personalize that for your chapter. It's not that the national office says, who can do what, but you do need a president and an advisor. If you try to delete the president and the advisor, that was probably going to sound an alarm because those are our main sources. Then you see role tags. So for instance, a co-advisor is still going to have the role tag of advisor. And that means whatever resources are available for these different roles, they will still get access to that. Martha, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you. I like hearing this presentation several times. I pick up on something new all the time. We were already in the process of collecting national dues. So once we put in the initiates, are they going to be billed again? Because you said once they become, okay.
Right. So you and I probably need to work together on that offline since it's kind of mid-process. But what I can do from the headquarters, and you won't be the only, you are not the only one, Martha. There's been others, and I know there will be more. But from the headquarters standpoint, I can onboard members in batches. And so I can onboard them all as initiates instead of invitees. And then we can click initiate initiates and generate the invoice that way. Or we can add them all as collegiates and I can manually create an invoice. So we can do it either way. We'll just definitely let me know and we'll reach out. But if you have their names and information available in an Excel spreadsheet, just like we talked about, that's how I'm going to import them as well from the onboarding dashboard.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. Does anybody else have a question? I know I'm kind of flying through here. Okay. So that's kind of top level of, viewing your membership, your invitation manager, transitioning members and officers. You can, like this says, view achievements. I honestly have not taken a deep dive into this myself. We're kind of one foot in front of the other with getting acclimated, but you can create achievements. I know, in my collegiate chapter, we had like most active new initiates. And so you might give someone that achievement and then let's say I assigned it to Martha. And so then on Martha's profile, when everybody looks at it, it's going to say, oh, Martha was the 2022 most active new initiate. So there's lots of fun things you can do as you move along. The setup wizard is probably where we need to start essentially. So this one you can see it has the progress 100% complete. So that's awesome. But it's going to tell you everything you need to do to set up your chapter. So you can customize your public homepage. So you can actually do a blog and a photo album for your chapter. Define your chapter awards and achievements, requirements. If you have particular requirements for your chapter, one of the biggest things is term dates, because there's some things that coincide with the calendar and different things. So make sure you get your time zones and your term dates set up and create your account that way. So officer dashboard is another, great place to start with, because this gives you kind of an overview of different things. So you can create an event, just like I created a national event tonight for this. You can create an event for your chapter. And you could even, obviously with the pandemic, things are a little bit different, but you can set up carpooling, like how many people can you take? Are you attending virtually? Do you want anybody to ride with you? That kind of thing. And then people can even register for it. So you know who is planning on coming, and maybe you want to award, some kind of points for that. You can send out emails and you can do that directly through the system. So there's no more manual doing things. You can just compose the email right here and you can pick who it goes to. I want to email all of my invitees, or I want to just email my officers. And it really is quite, I don't want to say quite easy, but once you get used to it, it walks you through it step by step. And then it'll send the email, just to everyone you pick, or even if you want to send it to only the people who are attending one of these events. So you can see that Beta Delta actually has set up some meetings in here. So if you said, oh, everyone that's coming to this event, I want to email them. So it's just kind of this one-stop shop. And that's really why, FIU National Council wanted to go with this is because we want to make everyone's lives easier. So you can even create your own calendar. You can look at the Region 2 calendar if you guys start organizing and doing functions by region, and then the national calendar. which I haven't put in everything from that, but you will see tonight's event on there, along with the March 1st deadline for scholarships, fellowships, and awards. Let's see what else. Achievements, awards. You can see that chapter dues and fees, meetings and service hours, and invoices. So here's one thing I will say about chapter dues and fees. You will notice that if you see the account statement, it's Chase WePay is the credit card merchant service, I guess, entity or processor that we're using. And that's because that's who Great Track partners with. And so you have the ability as a chapter with our subscription to Great Track to also set up a Chase WePay account. So if you've used PayPal or Square or some of those other services, you know that typically there is a fee. So there is a credit card processing fee. So you will notice, I can't remember offhand, but it might be like 2% per transaction plus 30 cents or something like that. So some chapters do not want to do that. Some do because they think it's convenient. You can have it where the members are paying the fee in addition to their dues. So let's say instead of $60, they may have to pay $61.58. I'm just making that up. Or the chapter could eat those fees essentially, but then that dips into your funding. So that's something to think about. It is there. It's a convenient resource, but I just want everyone to understand. Another thing you might consider is doing campaigns. So campaigns are fundraisers basically. So you could create campaigns. So if your chapter is doing a professional service project, let's say, and you are working with a local food bank and you want to raise donations, of monetary donations, and you want to set up a campaign, you can do that and set it up to where your chapter eats the fee. So essentially, if I'm a donor and I say, oh, I want to give the Beta Delta chapter $100, then I'm going to see that I gave them $100. But then on your end, you're going to get a deposit that night of like $98 and some change. So I think for donations, it really makes sense. But again, that's up to your chapter if you choose to do that. But it's not one of those things where you have to transfer over the money. If you have an account for your chapter, you'll just, through the secure, WePay portal, you'll enter your account information and it'll just direct deposit into it, or dump it into it every night. So that's something, you might want to explore. You can put in your budgets in here, record your meeting minutes. There's even a job board. You can create your own forms, upload files. So the beautiful thing about this, I think a lot of us can relate to the advisor retired or all of our officers graduated. And we've got some struggle there with the continuity and transitioning officers from year to year, or even transitioning advisors. So even if your chapter loses the keys to the castle, essentially, I can still have access. So the system's only going to work as great as the number of people who adopt it, right? But if I can go right back in and let's say that every advisor and every member left, just making that up, and we had a new crop of officers and advisors and no one knew where the meeting minutes were from the last minute, or we always had this application file we did for this and this, then I can go in, change out the officers and get everyone back going again, and it's all here. So I love that as far as continuity goes, especially when a lot of our members are juniors and seniors. I think that's helpful. Does anybody, I'm going to pause here. Does anyone have any questions?
I actually do. I was just typing in the chat. I just had a few questions about utilizing the campaign function. I got on my Great Track and I clicked on it to kind of see like what would happen. And it just says like my chapter isn't hosting any fundraisers at the moment. So if you wanted, like you were saying, you probably had talked to Jen, maybe that's why your example was so specific. I'm hoping so. But we're doing like that food bank fundraiser. And so I would love to get some more information on how to do something like that through FIU, if that's possible. Like how to assign like a fundraiser or whatever. But I can also wait till the end too and like hang around if you don't want to, like, if that's not applicable to everyone.
No, thank you so much for asking that. So I'm actually not 100% sure. I'll be transparent on how to set that up at the moment, but we will find out. We will find out and let you know. But if you don't mind, just shoot me an email and then I'll reach out to, because I was thinking it should be under, like you can create it here, and I'm not seeing that, but it may be that is something. Are you an advisor or an officer?
VP, yeah. Officer.
Okay. It may be that it's reserved for an advisor. Maybe only the advisors can set up campaigns because, that's kind of a fundraising and setting up financials. So I'll just double check, because even me on here right now, I'm as a president for Pretend, but it also may be if we go under manage and setup wizard, it may be that we need to somehow set up the Chase WePay account before it will allow you to do that. So I'll definitely look into that and let you know. But if you'll send an email to national@fye.org, I will look into that and we will figure out how to do it together.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for that question. That is a great question. So right now, any of the fundraising campaigns you're going to see are from the national office. So basically, we have lots of wonderful scholarships. Again, I hope you will apply for those if you're eligible. The deadline's March 1st. That does include your letters of recommendation and transcripts if you needed. But all of these lovely scholarships, you can donate to them specifically, or you can just donate to the general fund, or you can even make a donation to the Honor Society directly. So those are some options there. But definitely we'll look into being able to do that for the chapters. And it may just be that we have to set up that Greek Track WePay account first. I'll double check. Okay. So I'm trying to think of anything top level right now. We talked about defining officer positions, the progress bar to set up your account, accessing the padlock to review your access information and your privileges, administrative privileges, if you have any different requirements. And a lot of times if you do set up an event in Greek Track, I believe it will send out a notice every 7 days. So, if you're thinking, oh, we're having initiation on March 1st and I need to send a reminder email and it slips your mind, then Greek Track is going to do that for you. As far as questions, if you have a question that you feel like is specifically related to Greek Track, you can reach out to them, as Jennifer shared, and they're super helpful, very supportive. And their email is support@greektrack.com. And then there also are some help articles. I'm trying to find out where they are. I think there's like some help panels that fly out to the side. I'm not seeing them on my screen now, but I have seen them before. It may just be how I'm logged in right now. But there is that email. And then I want to say there's some blue help tabs that'll often show up on the right-hand side. That should kind of, fly out when you click on them. I apologize, I'm not able to demonstrate that at the moment. But that is another option if you are struggling. And of course you can reach out to me, but I love everyone reaching out to me, but when everyone reaches out to me at the same time, it's a little busy. So if there's something you can find the answer to through the help dashboard or through emailing Greek Track, that's also great. Invoices. So if you go to the officer dashboard, we'll go back there. And you can, we didn't talk about SMS. You can send text messages. Just be mindful of how many. I think we have that fixed now. In Jennifer's defense, the system does take a minute to load, especially when you're contacting multiple members. So it's easy to think it didn't submit and you hit the button again. So we'll give Jennifer some grace in that. But now I think they've disabled the button to where after you hit it once, you can't hit it again. So
Now, because of me.
And then this is where you can see, you can make announcements or files, forms. So there's kind of more than one way to get to these things, attendance reports, but you'll see some of that there. You can log a payment. So let's say that Natasha brings you $15 for her semester dues at the meeting. You could just go on here and log a payment for Natasha so that all your records, match and there's no confusion there. You can type in, who it's for. Use you, Natasha, as an example, and it'll automatically populate. So what was it for? Log the payment. Hi, Sally. And so lots of good things we can do. I don't want to overwhelm anyone because there are so many options, kind of, first things first, but we talked about doing the photo album or the blog and the external website. So anything you can do to elevate your chapter, especially for those folks who don't know what FIU is. I was very lucky that I had some great mentors. And when I got the invitation, I knew, oh, this isn't a scam. But, we all know the first things we do is kind of look you up online to see if it's legitimate and those sorts of things. So that's always good if you can make sure that the image that you're projecting for your chapter is, professional and it looks like something people want to be a part of.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely. Hi, Sally.
Okay, so we've run into a situation where all of our students want to pay using Venmo. Is We Pay connected to Venmo?
So I don't know the answer to that, but my initial thought is probably not. I think they're two different services. I think Venmo would be separate from WePay, and Greek Track, their agreement is with Chase WePay. So you could have so for your local dues, I'm trying to think of how we could work through this. If your yeah, I was gonna say if your chapter has a Venmo.
No.
Okay. I'll say if your chapter has a Venmo, then they could Venmo your chapter. Yeah. And then you could deposit it into your chapter's account and then go on here and pay. But I don't think so, Sally.
Okay. Yeah, that's our biggest problem is that we have a chapter bank account. And so students pay either with check or cash, and normally it's cash because no Gen Z has a checking account these days. But they can do an electronic check from Venmo. And so what has to happen is that I have to set up the Venmo personally, which I have. And then they send me their cash, and then I deposit it in the FIU bank account. I need a check because I have a checking account and my bank account. Okay, so Venmo does not, every time a student pays something and then it's deposited in Venmo, like dues, they take $2 out. So that's a $2 fee and it goes to Venmo. So, but if they send it to me, as opposed to a business account, then they don't charge a fee. And Venmo does not and will not authorize payments for charitable donations. So they say that could jeopardize, number one, the charity, and number two, the money that's been donated. So they have I've looked into it because my students all say, oh, it's no big deal. You can do it. I'm like, okay, no, we can't because they have these.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just didn't know if we pay, because Venmo and PayPal are the same people. And I didn't know if we pay was kind of connected.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely ask. I'll reach out to Greek Track and we'll ask about that. WePay is for Chase. It's a function of Chase Bank, I guess. have the agreement on that. I mean, do you think the issue is that they just want to do Venmo because they feel like it's safe and it's convenient, or do you think they do have debit and credit cards? Because, you know, I'm just thinking about how, if they're still, you know, how much more difficult is it just to have a Chase WePay account?
I don't know. I don't, at least my current members, they don't have checking accounts, meaning they do not have checks. And their checks, okay, and if there are students on here tonight, they may be able to respond, but we also have international students that are members, and they, of course, have no banking in the US, and they use Venmo for everything. And so the only thing they do is they get cash with their debit card out of an ATM.
Okay.
And so they can pay.
Okay, well, that's great.
Which is
Yeah,
fine.
that's great feedback. That's great feedback, and we'll look into that more just to make sure that we're understanding the, you know, limitations or parameters. I think that if it's set up to be automated in a way, like let's say that you set up a form for your chapter, let's say you just set up a dues form for your individual chapter, and we integrate a staging process where they have to pay, I'm going to say $80. I'm just going to make that up. Say it's national dues and local dues. And then it automatically populates them to enter it. And so when they accept or they register, and I haven't done this, so I can't speak from experience at the chapter level, and they pay directly at that time, everything locally, I feel like that would make sense versus this is some special thing if it's just part of the invitation process. For your local dues, but I will have to talk a little bit more with Greek Track and get back to you, Sally, but that is really good perspective about Venmo.
Yeah, it's become an issue, and I just have said it's either cash or check, and then this year it became even a bigger issue because the president doesn't think we should be in the dark ages. We should be in the 21st century, and I'm like, well,
but wouldn't their Venmo account still have to deposit into a checking or savings account? Like, wouldn't it still have to dump money there? Because I guess I think you can still do an electronic transfer.
Yes, so that's what we know. You can do an electronic transfer, but the other thing is that, and this becomes an issue, I think, with privacy, because in order to electronically transfer to the FIU account, they have to have the routing number. And so,
well, no, like what I was thinking, Sally, is if that means the students have an account, right? So if they can do, look at something. I'm just wondering if they can do an ACH transfer. I think you still have to have a WePay account. I'm going to look at me as an example. Let's look at our annual alumni fee. That's an offline payment.
Yeah, paying through Greek Track, I don't think that's going to work too well. I don't know.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is if let me stop sharing for just a second. If you guys, if Beta Zeta chapter sets up a Greek Track account, I'm sorry, they set up a Chase WePay account through Greek Track, I think we could look at doing electronic fund transfer. So the student is going to provide their account information to send money to the Chase WePay account for Beta Zeta. So they don't have to have Beta Zeta's information. They would have to provide their routing and account number.
Yeah, so find out what that might entail, because we already have a banking savings checking account that is Phi Epsilon Omicron, and I have to provide my Social Security number with that. And so now setting up another Chase account that I have to provide that, or
so Chase will not hold the money. You know, every night it automatically dumps. So when you'll be required to set it up with whatever account you want it to dump to, basically. So that's even happened at the national level. So whatever, you know, it's just a mechanism. So the Chase account, if anybody donates or contributes online, it goes into a Chase processor, and then at midnight it dumps into the national account. So the same thing would happen for the local account, but you're trying to see how what I'm understanding is if they can't Venmo to it, can they do like an electronic funds transfer or, I mean, it's just a credit card. I mean, if they pay with stuff on a credit card, but I understand that everyone's kind of gravitating towards Venmo. I think a lot of it has to do with fees. And I'd have to put on my accounting hat to let you know that Bayou is not a friends or family, but I think that's all of it, is to avoid some of that. And I get it, I get it.
And I don't want to take $2 out of a $10 semester, dues, because we only charge $10. And if they give me $10 in Venmo, that's $8.
Right. And with the Chase We Pay account, and you'll notice that if you go to pay a credit card, pay with a credit card to renew your alumni fee or to even pay your national dues, it is going to charge a processing fee. So you can do the same thing for you. You say, if you want to pay this way, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But there's a convenience charge to that. So where the chapter's not absorbing the fee that the individual remitting the payment is, but it may deter some people too, but then they bring you cash.
Right.
But no, I definitely took some notes because that's really good perspective. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Cause I investigated thinking, oh, well, this would be easy. And then it just became a major hassle.
Yes. No, thank you for that, Sally. That's really good. I'm sure other people had that question too. So thank you for asking it, and we'll find out for sure, and see if there's a clear way to communicate that. Before we do our drawing, because I know we're getting close to the hour, I wanted to mention that the scholarship, fellowship, and award applications, you will notice if you go to access those applications from our website, you'll just go to FIU.org and you'll find scholarships at the top of the menu. You cannot view those applications unless you are a paid member. So we have some folks who maybe were working on getting their dues processed, or they just haven't gotten their newest members to us. So occasionally lately, I've been receiving an email from individuals who say, oh, I was initiated last month or last fall, and it says I don't have access. And typically that would be why. So the goal of that is to ensure that non-members aren't applying and eligible for FIU scholarships. But because we're in the midst of a transition, I understand it could really complicate things. So if you have a member who is trying to apply and cannot, please let me know ASAP, so that I can kind of give them some offline direct access to get that. You'll need to confirm their membership, of course, if you're an advisor. But that's something, we may just have to make exceptions for in the meantime, if I know dues are on the way or you're in the middle of it. But they do have to be, the system is going to want to recognize them as a fully paid initiated member in order to access those applications. So just a heads up on that.
That's
Okay.
good.
Does anybody else have questions? I hope this has been helpful. I know it's kind of a lot in top level, but if you just can take some time to get in and kind of, click around, I think that's what I've done to help us the most. And as you see from this, these questions tonight, I still have learning to do, but we're going to get there. So
Thank you.
and I think thank you, Sally. Jennifer's got some fun things to give away. So to thank everyone for coming tonight, we have a drawing, or how are we doing it?
Yes, so I will share my screen then. And can you see the wheel? Everybody see the wheel of names?
Yes.
Okay. So I put names for everybody who joined. Melissa, do you want me to put you on there?
No, ma'am, but thank you.
So everybody's names on there who joins tonight. I have Martha on there still, even though she left, but she was here for part of it, so we'll keep her in there too. Do you want to show what the items are, or do you want me to just spin and choose the first name and say, here's what you get?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, and we want to make sure, so as long as your physical mailing address is updated in Greek Track, that's what Melissa will use, is your Greek Track mailing address to send it to you. So, okay, we'll go ahead and do the first name. And it looks like Erin gets this one. So what does Erin get? Do you have it with you, Melissa?
Do you have a certain order, or we just?
No,
I've got it written down. Okay. Erin is getting one of our brand new bar necklaces.
Oh, yay.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's what Melissa's wearing, and it looks like this.
Good one. Perfect. Yeah, we've got the little amethyst in there.
Okay.
Yay.
So the next name. Shalissa. Yay, Shalissa.
Yay. So
I'm excited.
Shalissa is getting our new lapel tack.
And she knows what that looks like, but that was the one I tried to show earlier. That's really
Oh, neat.
Purple. It's hard to
one of my
find.
favorite ones. Yay, Shalissa. That's a beta row person.
Congratulations.
Next is Andrea.
Yay!
Yay, Andrea.
Thank you. I don't even know what it is, but thank you.
Andrea is getting one of our Bayou wooden keychains. I don't have a picture with me, but they're really
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yay, Andrea. Okay. And
got one
for
more.
the last one. Casey, what does Casey get?
Casey is getting a Bayou Padfolio.
Oh, nice.
Yay!
Winner!
We have a winner. And thank you everybody for joining us.
Yes. And if anybody wants
Congratulations.
to ask a question, let me know. But thank you, Jennifer, for facilitating such a fun giveaway.
Yes.
Fun.
It was very
Thank
fun.
you.